In the year 636, a single parchment from the Caliph stripped history's most undefeated general of his command and placed it in the hands of a man who had never sought it. A transfer of power over 24,000 Muslim soldiers on the eve of the most consequential battle their world would ever know. Why would Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab remove the legendary Sword of Allah Khalid ibn al-Walid at this precise moment? And what quality did he see in Abu Ubayda Ibn Al-jarrah that made him believe this quiet companion of the Prophet was the only man who could secure victory? The stakes could not have been higher. The Muslim armies, having swept through the Persian Empire and now deep into Byzantine Syria, faced a cataclysmic response. Emperor Heraclius had marshaled a colossal force, a final, desperate attempt to crush the Islamic advance and preserve Roman dominion over the Levant. Failure for the Muslims meant not merely a military defeat. It meant annihilation, the erasure of their nascent state, and the end of the divine mission to convey the message of Islam beyond the Arabian Peninsula. The survival of the community itself rested on the plains of Yarmouk. As Ibn al-Athir recorded in his comprehensive chronicle, Al-Kamil fi al-Tariq, Heraclius gathered armies from all his provinces, amassing a host whose numbers were intended to overwhelm by sheer magnitude. Into this maelstrom of impending doom stepped Abu Ubayda, bearing the weight of the Caliph's decree. The letter from Umar was unequivocal. As al-Tabari narrates in his Tariq al-Rusul wa al-Muluk, the Caliph wrote, "I have appointed Abu Ubayda ibn al-jarrah as commander over you, and I have not appointed him due to any lack of confidence in you, O Khalid, but because I have chosen for the Muslims one who is more merciful to them." The strategic reasoning was not born of battlefield calculation, but of profound statecraft and akhlaq character. Umar, a ruler of piercing insight, understood that the coming struggle required more than tactical genius. It required a commander whose humility, trustworthiness, and unifying spirit could hold a diverse coalition of Muhajirin, Ansar, and Arab tribes together under extreme pressure. Khalid was the sharper sword, but Abu Ubayda was the steadier hand. The moment of crisis was not on the battlefield, but in the command tent upon the letter's reading. Abu Ubayda, in an act that defined his essence, initially concealed the order from Khalid, unwilling to cause disruption or humiliation. It was only when Khalid insisted on knowing the Caliph's full message that Abu Ubayda revealed the truth. Here, the hero faced his first impossible test: to assume command from a living legend, without ambition or pride, solely out of obedience to the Amir al-Mu'minin. Khalid's reaction, as documented by our historians, was one of immediate and flawless submission. He addressed Abu Ubayda as his commander thenceforth, setting a paradigm of Islamic discipline where personal glory was subsumed by collective obedience. This transition, smooth on the surface, masked a deep internal tension for Abu Ubayda. Could he, a man renowned for his soft heart and piety, make the hard decisions necessary to confront an empire? The doubt was not in his faith, but in his capacity to fill a role designed for a different kind of warrior. The resolution of this first strategic challenge was a masterpiece of moral leadership. Abu Ubayda did not dismiss Khalid's expertise, he harnessed it. In the days leading to the great confrontation at Yarmouk, it was Abu Ubayda who held the official command, providing the unshakable moral center and unified leadership. Yet, in a display of sublime wisdom and lack of ego, he relied upon Khalid for the intricate battle formations and tactical maneuvers. Ibn al-Athir notes that the Muslim force, under this dual guidance, was arranged into several divisions, with veterans like Amr ibn al-As and Yazid ibn Abi Sufyan holding key positions. Abu Ubayda's strategic reasoning was clear. Victory would come from a united Ummah, where the qualities of different men were combined in service of a single divine cause. His command provided the stability. Khalid's generalship provided the cutting edge. This synergy between profound trustworthiness and relentless martial skill began to forge an army that was more than the sum of its parts. But as the two colossal armies finally drew into sight of one another at Yarmouk, a new and more visceral crisis emerged. The Byzantine host, as al-Tabari reports based on the accounts of veterans, appeared as a vast black tide. Its numbers estimated by the historians to be in the range of 100,000 to 200,000, dwarfing the Muslim force of roughly 24,000. The visual shock was deliberate psychological warfare. For the Muslim soldiers, many of whom had never seen such a spectacle, a wave of fear was inevitable. Here, Abu Ubaida's role shifted from administrator to the heart of the army. He moved among the troops, his very presence. A man known to have been promised paradise by the Prophet Muhammad himself, a living reminder of their purpose. He did not give rousing speeches about plunder or glory. He reminded them of Allah's promise, of the honor of martyrdom, and of the trust they held for those back in Medina. His resolve, quiet and deep, began to steady the ranks. The cliffhanger was not whether the armies would clash, but whether this faith, embodied in one trustworthy man, could withstand the physical onslaught of an empire's last, furious stand. And as the first arrows darkened the sky, a silent question hung over the entire field. Could mercy truly command a war? Evntscovid. Dismissal of Khalid ibn al-Walid. Appointment of Abu Ubayda as supreme commander. Preparations for the Battle of Yarmouk. 3,000 Muslims rode out from Medina, their hearts heavy with the weight of a sacred mission. The Roman Empire, a colossus of its age, had demanded blood. The life of the messenger of Allah's, Arabic Sada, Arabic Lam, Arabic Caliph Muksura, Arabic Caliph, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Ha, Arabic Tain, Arabic Lam, Arabic Yet, Arabic Ha, Arabic Wow, Arabic Seen, Arabic Lam, Arabic Meme emissary, in retribution for the killing of its own governor. The Prophet Arabic Sada, Arabic Lam, Arabic Caliph Muksura, Arabic Caliph, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Ha, Arabic Tain, Arabic Lam, Arabic Yet, Arabic Ha, Arabic Wow, Arabic Seen, Arabic Lam, Arabic Meme, saw their resolve and entrusted the banner to the hands of Zayd ibn Haritha. By his side stood Jafar ibn Abi Talib and Abdullah ibn Rawaha, the vanguard of Islam. But behind them stretched the vast and treacherous terrain of the Levant. At the city of Mutta, the Byzantine forces waited, an army of 200,000 warriors, according to Ibn al-Athir, a force so vast it blotted out the sun. The stakes could not have been higher. If this army fell, the very survival of the Muslim community would be in jeopardy. Failure meant not just defeat, but the potential collapse of the fledgling Islamic State. Mutta was a strategic crossroads, a gateway to the Roman heartlands. Sitting in the fertile lands of modern-day Jordan, it was a fortress city, its high walls and narrow gates perfect for trapping an invading force. The Muslims knew that to reach it unscathed would be a feat in itself. The terrain was unforgiving, the distances immense. From Medina to Mutta was over 300 miles, a journey that would test the limits of their endurance. As they approached, scouts reported the sheer scale of the Byzantine forces. The Romans had gathered every available soldier, from the fringes of Syria to the distant provinces of Byzantium. Their commander, the legendary Heraclius, had not taken the insult of the prophet's message lightly. He had amassed an army so vast that it stretched for miles. Al-Tabari records that the Byzantine forces were not just soldiers, but a testament to imperial might: heavily armored cavalry, elite archers, and battle-hardened infantry. The Muslims, by contrast, were a small band of believers, their numbers barely scraping 3,000. Yet they did not falter. The Prophet Arabic Sada, Arabic Lam, Arabic Caliph Muksura, Arabic Caliph, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Ha, Arabic Tain, Arabic Lam, Arabic Yet, Arabic Ha, Arabic Wow, Arabic Seen, Arabic Lam, Arabic Meme, had given them clear instructions. Fight them with patience and constancy. Fear them not, for I am with you. These words echoed in their hearts as they prepared for battle. They knew that brute force would not win this war. They needed strategy, cunning, and the unwavering belief that Allah was with them. The first wave of the Muslim attack was led by Zayd ibn Haritha, a man of unshakable faith and courage. Zayd had been a slave who became a son to the Prophet Arabic Sada, Arabic Lam, Arabic Caliph Muksura, Arabic Caliph, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Ha, Arabic Tain, Arabic Lam, Arabic Yet, Arabic Ha, Arabic Wow, Arabic Seen, Arabic Lam, Arabic Meme. His leadership was marked by compassion and wisdom, qualities that defined his character. He led his men with the same determination that had earned him his freedom. But as the two armies clashed, the sheer weight of the Byzantine forces proved overwhelming. According to Ibn al-Athir, Zayd fell, his sacrifice a testament to his unwavering devotion. The command then passed to Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, a man of immense piety and valor. Ja'far was a cousin of the Prophet Arabic Sada, Arabic Lam, Arabic Caliph Muksura, Arabic Caliph, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Ha, Arabic Tain, Arabic Lam, Arabic Yet, Arabic Ha, Arabic Wow, Arabic Seen, Arabic Lam, Arabic Meme. His lineage, a symbol of honor and devotion. He rallied the troops, his leadership inspiring even in the face of insurmountable odds. Ja'far's tactics were a blend of courage and ingenuity. He led his men in a charge that split the Byzantine lines, creating openings for the Muslim forces to exploit. However, as Ibn Kathir records, Ja'far too fell in battle, his legacy immortalized by his unwavering faith. With the loss of two commanders, the burden of leadership fell upon Abdullah ibn Rawaha. A man known for his wisdom and strategic acumen, Abdullah had been a poet before embracing Islam, his words now weapons of inspiration. He understood that the Muslims could not win through force alone. He ordered a tactical retreat, a decision that would allow them to regroup and fight another day. The Byzantines, confident in their victory, pursued them relentlessly. Abdullah, with a small contingent of warriors, turned to face them, buying time for his brethren to escape. His sacrifice was a defining moment of bravery and selflessness, a testament to the Muslim spirit. The Muslims retreated, their hearts heavy with loss but unbroken in spirit. They had faced the might of the Byzantine Empire and lived to fight another day. The Battle of Mutta was not a victory in the traditional sense, but it was a triumph of faith and resilience. It proved that even against overwhelming odds, the Muslims could stand firm, their resolve unshaken. But the story did not end there. The Byzantines, emboldened by their victory, saw this as an opportunity to crush the Muslims once and for all. They began to mobilize, their armies marching toward the heart of the Islamic world. The Muslims knew that the next battle would be even more crucial, a test of their faith and their ability to defend what they held dear. As the dust settled on the plains of Mutta, a new chapter was about to unfold. The Byzantines were coming, and the Muslims would have to rise to the challenge once more. The fate of their community hung in the balance, and only time would tell if they could withstand the storm that was about to descend upon them. Eventsovid, Battle of Mutta, Fall of Zayd ibn Haritha, Fall of Ja'far ibn Abi Talib. The fate of a great city hung precariously in the balance. Abu Ubayda Ibn Al-jarrah, the trusted commander of the Muslim armies, faced a formidable enemy entrenched behind imposing walls. Reports filtered in. The Byzantine garrison numbered at least 30,000, a colossal force arrayed against his own modest contingent. The precise number of his soldiers, a mere 4,000, was known to him and his inner council, a stark disparity that sent a chill through even the most seasoned warriors. Success seemed a distant whisper against such overwhelming odds. The stakes were monumental. If this city, a vital stronghold of Byzantine power in the Levant, were to resist and repel the Muslim advance, the momentum of the early conquests would be broken. The road to Damascus and beyond, carved by the sweat and sacrifice of the faithful, would be choked with defeat. Not only would the newly established Muslim territories be threatened with a Byzantine resurgence, but the very heart of the nascent Islamic State would be vulnerable. The Caliphate, still finding its footing, could falter under the weight of such a setback. The dreams of spreading the message of Islam, of bringing justice and peace to lands yearning for it, would be cast into grave doubt. The eyes of the world, both friend and foe, were fixed on this pivotal moment, and failure here would echo through generations. Abu Ubaida's strategic challenge was immense. The city in question, Homs, lay nestled in a fertile plain, protected by formidable fortifications. The Byzantine forces, renowned for their military prowess and well-equipped armies, had consolidated their strength within its walls, confident in their defensive advantage. Scouts returned with increasingly dire assessments of the enemy's readiness. As al-Tabari recorded in his Tariq al-Rusul wa al-Muluk, the Byzantine emperor had dispatched considerable reinforcements, swelling their numbers to an intimidating 30,000, while Abu Ubayda could muster only 4,000 men. The conventional wisdom dictated a siege, a slow, grinding affair that would test the patience and resources of both sides. However, Abu Ubayda understood the precariousness of his position. A protracted siege could drain his limited supplies, expose his men to disease, and allow the Byzantines to reinforce their numbers further or even launch a relief force. His tactical reasoning was rooted in a deep understanding of deception and psychological warfare, honed by his unwavering faith and reliance on Allah. He knew that a direct assault against such defenses would be suicidal. Instead, he opted for a strategy that would sow confusion and fear among the enemy, forcing them to contemplate an unseen threat. He ordered his army to divide. A significant portion, under the command of his most trusted lieutenants, was instructed to move away from the city, to make their presence known at a distance, perhaps in the surrounding countryside, to create the illusion of a dispersed force or even a retreating one. This was designed to lull the Byzantines into a false sense of security, to make them believe the immediate threat had diminished. Meanwhile, Abu Ubayda, with a select and elite contingent of his remaining forces, would approach Homs under the cover of darkness. His objective was not a direct confrontation, but a demonstration of resolve and an appeal to the city's leaders. He positioned his smaller force in a visible but unthreatening manner, signaling a willingness to negotiate. The message was clear. The Muslims were not merely an army of raiders, but a force capable of reasoned engagement. The moment of crisis arrived as Abu Ubayda and his small detachment stood before the mighty gates of Homs. The vast majority of the Byzantine army remained within, a dark, rumbling mass behind the stone ramparts. The tension was palpable. His own men, though steadfast, could feel the weight of the enemy's numbers pressing down on them. Doubt, a subtle serpent, whispered in the minds of some. Had they gambled too much? Was this bold display of negotiation a sign of weakness, an admission of their inability to breach the walls by force? The city's gates remained shut, a silent testament to their defiance, but also to their uncertainty. As Ibn al-Athir notes in his Al-Kamil fi al-Tariq, the Byzantines were accustomed to facing armies in open battle, not this calculated approach that blended military presence with diplomatic overture. They were left to ponder the intentions of this seemingly smaller force, unsure if it was a vanguard, a feint, or a genuine offer of peace. The uncertainty was a powerful weapon. The strategic payoff of Abu Ubaida's daring maneuver was profound. The Byzantine commanders, facing a dilemma, began to fracture. The distant movements of the main Muslim army, coupled with the visible but non-aggressive posture of Abu Ubaida's detachment, created a strategic paralysis. They could not afford to sally forth and risk confronting the larger, unseen force in the open. Nor could they ignore the direct offer of engagement from Abu Ubaida. Their fear of the unknown, of the unseen army that had seemingly surrounded them, began to erode their resolve. Ibn Kathir, in his al-Bidya wa al-Nihaya, highlights how the Byzantines, accustomed to a more predictable form of warfare, found themselves unnerved by this unconventional tactic. The internal divisions within the besieged garrison grew as they debated the best course of action. Some advocated for a swift and decisive attack on Abu Ubaida's visible contingent, while others, more fearful of the larger, hidden threat, argued for caution and negotiation. This internal discord weakened their unified front. Ultimately, the weight of uncertainty and the fear of what lay beyond their immediate sight proved decisive. The Byzantine leadership, unwilling to risk a confrontation with an enemy whose full strength they could not ascertain, agreed to parley. Abu Ubaida, through skilled negotiation, secured the surrender of Homs. The city, so vital to Byzantine control, was ceded not through a bloody siege, but through a masterful display of strategic foresight and psychological acumen. The Muslim army had, in essence, employed an unseen army of fear and uncertainty to achieve its objective, sparing the city much of the devastation of a prolonged conflict and securing a significant victory for the caliphate. Yet, as the banners of Islam were raised over Homs, a new, more ominous report began to circulate. Messengers, weary and dust-covered, arrived from the north. They spoke of a vast host, unlike any encountered before, assembling near the fortified city of Antioch. This was no mere garrison. It was an army of unprecedented size, drawn from across the Byzantine Empire, its sole purpose to crush the Muslim invasion and reclaim the lost territories. The victory at Homs, though significant, now seemed like a prelude to a far greater and more perilous struggle. Eventsovid. Siege of Homs, strategic deception by Abu Ubaida, Byzantine surrender of Homs. With only the fortified city of Hims standing between the Muslim armies and the complete consolidation of northern Syria, Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab in Medina received a report that sent a chill through his resolve. It stated that the Roman Emperor Heraclius had assembled a vast new army at Antioch, numbering over 100,000 men, and was preparing a colossal counter-offensive to retake every lost province. The Caliph's immediate, fateful command to his generals was one of stunning caution. Abandon the newly conquered cities of northern Syria, including Hims, and withdraw the armies south to the Arabian desert's edge to regroup. For Abu Ubayda Ibn Al-jarrah, the Caliph's appointed Amir over all the Syrian fronts, this order represented not just a tactical retreat, but a crisis of faith in the promise of their victory. The stakes could not have been higher. Failure to correctly interpret and act upon the Caliph's command risked one of two catastrophic outcomes. The first was direct disobedience of the Amir al-Mu'minin, a sin against the very structure of Islamic leadership established after the Prophet's death. The second was the potential military disaster of a full withdrawal. Abandoning Hims and other cities meant surrendering thousands of Muslim settlers and converts to certain Roman reprisal, losing strategic strongholds forever, and devastating the morale of an army that had fought for years to claim these lands for Islam. The entire Syrian project, a cornerstone of the nascent caliphate's expansion, hung in the balance. As Ibn al-Athir notes in Al-Kamil fi al-Tariq, the Roman threat was genuine and immense, but the prospect of retreat tasted of bitter defeat. Abu Ubayda was in Hims when the Caliph's directive arrived. The city, a vital strategic hub, was held by a Muslim garrison. Around him were his most trusted commanders, Khalid ibn al-Walid, the undefeated Sword of Allah, Yazid ibn Abi Sufyan, Shurabil ibn Hassana, and Amr ibn Alas. Abu Ubayda assembled them and read Umar's stark order. The reaction was one of profound confusion and dismay. A heated council of war ensued. Some commanders argued for immediate, unquestioning obedience. Others, most notably Khalid ibn al-Walid, vehemently opposed the retreat on military grounds, arguing it would invite the very destruction the Caliph feared. Ibn Kathir, in al-Bidayah wa al-Nihaya, records the gravity of this council. Abu Ubayda listened to all, his face a mask of calm, but his heart carried the unbearable weight of ultimate responsibility. He was caught between the letter of the Caliph's command and the spirit of his duty to protect the Muslims and their gains. Here Abu Ubayda's akhlaq, his character as a Muslim leader, faced its ultimate test. His humility before the Caliph was legendary, yet his strategic insight and deep sense of fiduciary duty to the Muslim community were also paramount. He analyzed the situation with the clarity of a man whose faith informed his reason. The Roman army, while large, was still assembling at Antioch, a considerable distance north. A hurried, panicked withdrawal from fortified positions would turn an organized army into a vulnerable caravan, strung out across open country and ripe for annihilation by Roman cavalry. Furthermore, as al-Tabari records in his Tariq, Abu Ubayda considered the people of Hims. They had accepted Muslim rule and paid the jizya under a covenant of protection. To abandon them was to break a sacred Islamic covenant, an act of profound treachery. His tactical reasoning, therefore, stemmed from a moral imperative. He made his decision. In an act of breathtaking courage that fused strategic brilliance with moral fortitude, Abu Ubayda chose a third path. He would not blindly obey the retreat order, nor would he blatantly defy it. Instead, he wrote a detailed reply to Caliph Umar. As narrated by Ibn al-Athir, Abu Ubayda explained the tactical reality. A retreat would be more dangerous than holding their ground. He described the fortified cities as shields and the Muslim armies as still cohesive and high in morale. Most importantly, he reminded the Caliph of the covenant with the people of the cities. He then made a critical interim decision. He would prepare for a withdrawal, but not execute it. He summoned the people of Hims. According to al-Tabari, he stood before them and announced, "We received the order of our emir to leave your city, and we are returning to you the jizya you paid, for we can no longer protect you." He returned the taxes collected, fulfilling the Islamic contractual obligation in full. This moment was Abu Ubayda's crisis. The doubt was not in his heart, but in the agonizing wait for the Caliph's response. He had staked his position, and potentially his command, on a letter. For days, the army stood ready. The people of Hims were in a state of anxious confusion, and the specter of the Roman juggernaut loomed. Abu Ubayda maintained his calm demeanor, leading prayers and steadying his commanders, but internally, he bore the solitary burden of a decision that could end his career or save the campaign. He exemplified the Muslim hero, whose resolve was tested not in the heat of battle, but in the quiet torment of command. The resolution came when Caliph Umar's reply finally reached Hims. The Caliph, upon reading Abu Ubaida's reasoned, principled, and strategically sound letter, had a change of heart. Umar saw the wisdom and the profound Islamic ethics embedded in his general's analysis. He rescinded the withdrawal order. As Ibn Kathir records, Umar wrote back, approving Abu Ubaida's plan to hold their positions and confront the Roman army from their fortified bases. The strategic payoff was immediate and total. Morale, which had been teetering on the edge of despair, soared. The people of Hims, witnessing this integrity, were deeply moved. Reports state that they declared, "By Allah, we would rather have your rule and justice than return to our old state of oppression." They pledged to help guard the city walls alongside the Muslim garrison. Abu Ubaida's combination of unwavering principle and sound military judgment had transformed a crisis of doubt into a consolidation of trust, both with his caliph and with the people under his protection. With the caliph's doubt resolved and Abu Ubaida's authority unequivocally affirmed, the Muslim armies were now unified and poised to face the Roman threat. Abu Ubayda, with Khalid as his primary field commander, devised a plan to draw the massive Roman army away from the coast and into a decisive confrontation on favorable ground. The stage was set for a clash of empires. However, as Abu Ubayda mobilized his forces from Hims, a new and utterly silent report reached his command tent. It spoke not of legions or battlements, but of a sudden, virulent fever breaking out in a small town called Amwas, a key staging post for the Muslim armies near Jerusalem. It was said to be spreading with unnatural speed. Abu Ubayda dismissed it as a minor concern, a distraction from the monumental military task at hand. He could not know that this invisible enemy, far more relentless than any Roman emperor, was already marching in his ranks, and its victory would be measured not in lost territory, but in the lives of his most beloved companions and his own destiny. Evntscovid. The crisis over Caliph Umar's withdrawal order from northern Syria, Abu Ubaida's strategic and moral response leading to the holding of Hims, the initial reports of the plague at Amwas. The year is 634 AD. The city of Damascus stands as the jewel of the Byzantine Empire, its walls impregnable, its defenses formidable. Yet, against all odds, Abu Ubayda Ibn Al-jarrah, the commander of the Muslim armies, has led his men to the very gates of this mighty citadel. With only 4,000 warriors against a Byzantine force of 40,000, the stakes could not be higher. The fate of Syria hangs in the balance. Damascus, the heart of Bilad al-Sham, is not just a city, it is a symbol. If it falls, the entire region could shift from Byzantine control to the expanding Muslim state. As Ibn al-Athir recorded in Al-Kamil fi al-Tariq, Abu Ubayda knew that failure here would not only mean the loss of countless lives, but also the potential stalling of the entire Muslim conquest. The momentum gained from previous victories would be shattered, and the morale of the Muslim armies would be severely tested. The strategic challenge facing Abu Ubayda was immense. Damascus, surrounded by fertile plains and lush orchards, was a place of natural beauty and military strength. The Byzantines, under the command of General Theodore, had fortified the city with high walls and strategically placed towers. They had also harnessed the waters of the Barada River to create a moat, making any direct assault nearly suicidal. The Byzantine army, a mix of Greek, Armenian and Ghassanid troops, was well-equipped and battle-hardened. Abu Ubaida's tactical reasoning was a testament to his brilliance as a commander. He recognized that a frontal assault would lead to certain defeat. Instead, he chose a strategy of siege and deception. As al-Tabari reports in Tariq al-Rusul wa al-Muluk, Abu Ubayda sent scouts to identify the weakest points in the city's defenses. He also ordered his men to dig trenches and create barriers to prevent any sudden Byzantine sorties. The plan was to cut off supplies and communication, forcing the Byzantines into a position of weakness. However, the path was not without its perils. According to al-Tabari, Abu Ubayda paused as scouts reported that the Byzantines were preparing a night raid. The Muslim forces were outnumbered and exhaustion was setting in. The weight of the decision pressed heavily on Abu Ubayda's shoulders. But he remained steadfast, his faith unwavering. He knew that the key to victory lay not just in military prowess, but in the unwavering trust in Allah's decree. The crisis came when the Byzantines launched a surprise attack under the cover of darkness. The Muslim forces, though caught off guard, rallied swiftly. Abu Ubayda, ever the strategist, had anticipated the move and had stationed archers and skirmishers in strategic positions. The Byzantines, expecting an easy victory, were met with fierce resistance. The battle raged through the night, with neither side gaining a decisive advantage. The turning point came when Abu Ubayda ordered his men to set fire to the gates of the city. The flames, fanned by the wind, created a wall of fire that forced the Byzantines back. The intense heat and smoke caused chaos among the Byzantine ranks, allowing the Muslim forces to gain the upper hand. As Ibn Kathir notes in al-Bidya wa al-Nihya, the Byzantines, overwhelmed and demoralized, began to retreat. The siege had succeeded, but the victory was not complete. News reached Abu Ubayda that a new Byzantine army was marching towards Damascus, intent on lifting the siege. The imminence of this new threat cast a shadow over the recent victory. The city of Damascus was theirs, but the war for Syria was far from over. The letter that arrived that night would change everything, forcing Abu Ubayda to prepare for yet another challenge. EVNTSCOVERED. Siege of Damascus, Byzantine night raid, setting fire to the gates of Damascus. The year is 18 AH. A shadow falls not upon the battlefield, but within the very heart of the Muslim army. Abu Ubayda Ibn Al-jarrah, the trusted companion, the steadfast leader, finds himself facing an enemy more insidious than any Byzantine legion. A plague, a swift and deadly pestilence, has descended upon the lands of Syria, and it claims lives with terrifying speed. As al-Tabari recounts, in a single day, nearly 25,000 Muslims perished from this affliction across Syria, a number that dwarfs any casualty count from the fiercest of sieges. The once vibrant camps, filled with the clamor of warriors and the scent of victory, are now hushed by death, the air thick with sorrow and the cries of the afflicted. The stakes are immense. This is not merely a military setback. It is a test of faith and resilience for the nascent Islamic State. If this plague cannot be contained, if the army disintegrates under its relentless assault, the hard-won gains in Syria could be lost. The strategic foothold established against the mighty Byzantine Empire, so painstakingly secured through battles like Ajnadain and Fal, would crumble. The caliphate, still young and fragile, would face a devastating blow, potentially emboldening its enemies and casting doubt on the divine favor it had so clearly enjoyed. The vision of a unified Arabia, now expanding its reach, could be extinguished by an unseen foe. The plague's grip tightens, particularly in the region of the Jordan Valley. Reports flood into Abu Ubayda's command post, detailing the devastating impact. Cities and towns that had recently opened their gates to Islam are now scenes of quiet despair. The soldiers, brave and tested in countless engagements, are not only fighting for their lives, but also grappling with the fear of the unknown. Their faith is challenged as they witness brothers in arms succumb to an illness that spares no one, regardless of piety or valor. Abu Ubayda, a man known for his stoic resolve and unwavering trust in Allah, faces a strategic dilemma of unprecedented proportions. He must protect his men, preserve the army's strength, and uphold the mission entrusted to him by the Caliph. The infection spreads rapidly through the camps. Ibn al-Athir notes that the plague was particularly severe in the district of Amwas, leading to its common name, the Plague of Amwas. The physicians, though skilled, are overwhelmed, their remedies proving ineffective against the virulent disease. Fear begins to ripple through the ranks, a subtle enemy that erodes morale more effectively than any sword. Soldiers contemplate fleeing, not from the battlefield, but from the very ground they stand on, seeking to outrun the unseen killer. This is the strategic challenge: how to command an army when the greatest threat is not an external enemy, but a pervasive sickness that renders fortifications useless and weapons impotent. Abu Ubayda, in consultation with his most trusted advisors, including the renowned Mu'adh ibn Jabal, grapples with a grave decision. The Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab had previously issued a directive. If a plague strikes a region, Muslims should not enter it, and if they are already in it, they should not leave. This command, born of wisdom and a deep understanding of contagion, presents a difficult choice. To remain stationary in the afflicted areas risks further decimation of the army. To flee would be to disobey the Caliph's explicit instruction. Abu Ubayda, a man of deep piety and strict obedience, feels the immense weight of this command. He knows that his decision will impact not only the lives of his soldiers, but also the integrity of the Caliphate's authority and the trust placed in him. As al-Tabari records, Abu Ubayda convened a council, his face etched with concern, for he had to find a path that honored both divine decree and the preservation of the Muslim Ummah. After much deliberation, a solution emerges, one that seeks to adhere to the Caliph's command while mitigating the disaster. Abu Ubayda decides to move the army to higher ground, to the mountainous regions of Syria, believing that the cooler air and less crowded conditions might offer some respite. This strategic maneuver, however, is not a flight from the afflicted land, but a measured withdrawal to a less concentrated area, aiming to prevent further widespread infection within the army itself. He prioritizes the welfare of the soldiers, understanding that a healthy army is essential for future campaigns. This decision, while controversial to some, reflects Abu Ubayda's deep concern for the lives entrusted to him and his commitment to safeguarding the strength of the Muslim forces. Ibn Kathir writes that Abu Ubayda himself was afflicted by the plague, a testament to his shared suffering with his men. As the army begins its difficult relocation, a sense of profound loss and uncertainty pervades. The strategic objective of expanding Muslim influence in Syria is temporarily halted, overshadowed by the immediate crisis of survival. The soldiers, though obedient, carry the grief of their fallen comrades and the gnawing fear of what tomorrow might bring. The legacy of Abu Ubayda, the Amin al-Ummah, trusted one of the Ummah, is now intertwined with this devastating plague. He has shown his leadership not just in battle, but in navigating the darkest of times, seeking divine guidance and prioritizing the well-being of his people. Yet the plague has taken a terrible toll, leaving a scar on the fabric of the early Islamic conquests. Just as the army begins to find a semblance of stability in the higher altitudes, a disturbing report reaches Abu Ubayda. Scouts returning from the north speak of renewed Byzantine activity. Whispers of a large mobilization, a force gathering on the borders, begin to circulate. The plague may have silenced many of their warriors, but it seems the enemy has not forgotten them. What threat does this new Byzantine force pose to a weakened and grieving army? And can Abu Ubayda, still recovering from his own illness and the immense loss, rally his men for a new confrontation? Eventscoveid. The plague of Amwas, strategic withdrawal of Muslim forces in Syria, reports of renewed Byzantine mobilization.